Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, we're obviously in my living room because I want to show you some of my house plants. And I don't know about you, but recently I've been drawn to getting plants and really leaning into becoming a plant mom. And maybe it's because I miss tending to my flowers in Animal Crossing because I don't have time to play anymore. I don't know, but recently I went out and got some plants for my apartment. And I have some thoughts and feelings that I'm ready to share. So today, obviously, we are going over the best houseplants for beginners, meaning easy to take care of, hard to kill, and what plants thrive in what situations. So if you like this video while you're watching it, make sure to give it a thumbs up. And let's get started. I'll leave timestamps in the description box if you want to check that out if you're looking for a specific plant. But the first one I want to talk about is a snake plant. And oh my God, I finally understand the hype around snake plants now that I own one, you guys. Okay, this is Carmen San Diego. She is the snake plant currently living in my home, and we bought her maybe a month ago. And I think I've watered her once, okay? She's basically living in a corner of our living room that doesn't get any direct sunlight. And let me tell you, I think she's thriving, okay? I bought this plant water meter that I will link in the description box to check on the water levels of my plants. And I watered her like 2 weeks ago and the soil is still wet. So I really don't need to water her very often. And the fact that she doesn't get really any sunlight and was also completely dropped face first on the ground when we first brought her home and is still doing great should tell you all you need to know about getting a snake plant, okay? Even when I Googled care for snake plants, the directions were so minimal. It was keep them in indirect light and don't water them too often. Done. Before we talk about our next plant, I want to talk about indirect versus direct sunlight because this is a very important distinction for certain plants. You can tell if your plant is in direct sunlight if the rays from the sun are coming in from your windows and landing on the plant's leaves. So as you can see here, if I had a plant sitting right here, it would be in direct sunlight. Anything that's indoors that doesn't have a ray of light beaming onto it is indirect sunlight. So for example, my money tree over here is technically receiving indirect sunlight. This is where the windows are. The sun is beaming over to him. Side note, by the way, I would not recommend a money tree for beginners, but we're gonna talk about that at the end. So he gets indirect sunlight coming in from the windows because he's not getting any direct rays of sun. Okay, so the next plant that I would recommend for beginners is a pothos. And pothos plants can thrive in a bunch of different environments. So that's what makes it so ideal for a house plant. You can put it in a bathroom or an office and it's gonna survive, but you can also keep it in a bright living room and it will also be happy. The only thing that makes pothos plants unhappy is direct beaming sunlight. And they look really cool and they look like they'd be really hard to take care of, but they aren't, which is great for new plant parents. And they're not super picky about watering. So if you overwater or underwater, they'll recover quickly. Be aware though, they are poisonous. So if you have a sneaky cat or a dog or child running around, you will need to keep them out of reach or just skip the pothos. Honestly, probably if you have a cat that can jump up and try to eat it. So if you do need to skip a pothos, my next plant suggestion is a peace lily. Peace lilies are nice if you want to add color other than green to your space. And they look like they have flowers on them, but really these are actually just a different type of leaf. And like a lot of other indoor plants, peace lilies are going to be good with indirect sunlight, either low indirect sunlight like an office or a bathroom, or medium to high indirect light. The plant will look different if you have them in different lighting settings. So in low light, it's gonna have less of those flowers and more of the foliage and greenery. And the more light it gets, the more it should flower. And another bonus is that they're another plant that really doesn't need to be watered that often. And actually you should err on the side of drying them out rather than overwatering them. The next plant in the lineup is a cast iron plant, which is basically described as an indestructible plant. Okay, I don't personally have one of these, but I am going to get one because when I looked up care of these plants, it basically said to leave them alone. It can tolerate basically no sunlight and no watering. Now obviously if you're trying to be the best plant parent possible, you should check if it needs water. But I might get one of these for our bathroom that doesn't have a window and see how it goes. It also says insects usually leave these plants alone and they don't usually get diseases. So that sounds pretty good to me. And finally, we need to talk about succulents. And I feel like suckies really had their moment a few years ago. And I'm not sure what happened, but I feel like they've kind of fallen off the radar. And I feel like everyone thought that they were so easy to take care of, but they're really not compared to the plants that I already mentioned. Succulents are desert plants, so they need a shit ton of sunlight to really thrive. And I looked it up and it says succulents do best with 6 hours of direct sunlight a day. And I'd venture to guess that most people in an apartment setting don't get 6 hours of full light a day without having to move your plant around to different parts of your apartment. I have a window that faces south, but even then, I'd have to put it directly in my windowsill for it to be happy. With all that being said, I still might get a jade plant and put it near my window and see how it goes because I really like jade plants. And if I do end up getting one, I'll keep you updated in the comments to see if it thrives even in indirect sunlight. But if any of you have a succulent that you don't have in direct sunlight and it is thriving, let me know. But the bonus of a succulent is it really doesn't need to be watered very often. So if you are someone who forgets to water your plants, but maybe has a lot of light, then I would actually try out succulents. The way I remember to water my plants is because I bought this adorable watering can, which I will link below. It's from Amazon. Look at how cute it is. It's cute enough to look like decor so it can sit out, which reminds me to check to see if my plants need water, which is my favorite thing about it. Now finally, what you've all been waiting for, I will talk about my money trees. So we have one money tree that's doing really well. This is Norman, and he seems to be thriving and he's growing just fine. And then we have Massimo. And if anybody knows what happened to Massimo, please let me know, okay? We are thinking about getting rid of him, okay, if we can't figure out a way to kind of like bring him back to life. Maybe it's the soil, I'm not sure. We got both of them from the same plant store. And obviously he didn't look like this when we first bought him, so we're kind of unsure what happened. This is why I wouldn't recommend these guys because apparently they're very sensitive. So we might have done something to offend Massimo and now he won't recover. I don't know, okay? I also spray them occasionally because I guess they like humidity. So if you have a plant that likes humidity, you can either keep it in the bathroom so like the steam from the shower helps them out, or get a little spray bottle like this one, which I will link below as well. Let me know in the comments if you have a money tree and it looks like Massimo or if it looks like Norman, because I'm still very perplexed by this whole situation. So that is it for today. Let me know in the comments which houseplants you have down below or which ones you are going to buy and attempt to care for. If you liked this video while you were watching it, please make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. I really, really appreciate it, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!